All right, let's look at the homework 3.4, problem number 10. All right, so we want to find the point on this, the graph of this function closest to the point 1, 0. All right, so let's do that. All right, so let's say, so we have a point, so I'm gonna, let's call the point x comma y. Actually, we can be a little bit more specific. So x, and since it's going to be on the graph, so the y value is just the square root of x minus 5, right? So if you want to find the distance between these 2 points, I'm going to call this guy, say x1 and y1, and call this guy x2 and y2. Then by distance formula, we have distance d is going to be equal to square root of x2 minus x1. So it's going to be a x minus 1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So it's a square root of x minus 5 minus 0 squared. All right, so if you simplify that, you're going to get square root of, if I multiply out, x squared minus 2x plus 1. And if you square that, the square root is gone, so you're just going to get x minus 5. All right, so we can clean it up. So square root of, all right, there's x squared there. Maybe I should start circling things here. So x squared here. All right, I'm going to combine negative 2x and positive x. So it's going to be minus x. All right, then we have 1, and then we subtract the negative 5. So it's going to be negative 4. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try to minimize just the inside function. So I'm going to call this function f of x. Then I'm going to try to minimize it. So we want to minimize this function f of x is equal to x squared minus x minus 4 on, alright, there's a restriction on x because this function is not defined for all x. The domain of this given function f is going to be, it has to be at least 5, so it's going to be 5 and up, right? So we need to minimize this guy right here, right? So let's find the derivative. So f prime of x is equal to 2x minus 1. So we set that equal to 0. So we get, so add 1, so you have a 2x is equal to 1. Then we can just divide through by 2. So x is equal to 1/2. So this is a critical number, right? But unfortunately, this critical number is not on this interval, right? So let's look at the sign of f prime. So we're going to look at the starting from 5, then up, right? So I'm going to look at the sign of f prime at, say, 6 or something like that. Right, so if you put 6, 6 times 2 minus 1 is positive, right? So which means that this function f is actually always increasing after 5. So we know that the minimum happens right at 5 because after that it's always give you a larger value. Alright, so we know that when x equals 5, it's going to be the minimum. So x equals 5. and then y is equal to 5 minus 5 square root, so that's 0. Right? So closest point is 5 comma 0. Right? So let's type it in. Right? Answer is 5 comma 0. Right? So let's check the answer. All right, it came back and we got the correct point. All right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.